What if I told you that you don't need to know a single line of code in order to automate business processes? And even better, you don't even need to spend days, weeks, months, or even years to learn how to do this. And once you have this knowledge, you can also sell these as solutions to business owners that are willing to pay big bucks in order to automate their time-wasting processes. If this sounds something like you would be interested in, this is the video for you. So in it, I'm going to speak about how you can automate anything or a lot of business processes without code, and what it takes to start an AI automation agency for things that you do yourself, and then to help others with their processes. So let's speak about the automation myth, and this is the common misconception that you need to learn how to code, that without knowing any coding, you can't get far. Many people think this, but fortunately, or unfortunately, depending how you look at it, the market to enter the AI automation space is now very low, in the sense that you can sign up for a tool that I'll mention very soon, and you can start putting things together and automating the processes that take time, that waste time, and you can get time back. You can offer these solutions to business owners to get their own time back. So this is the misconception that I want to address first. You don't need to learn, you don't need to know how to code. If you do, that is obviously a bonus, because it will allow you to use the knowledge that you would use when building coding projects in order to break things down. But it's not necessary in order to succeed in this industry. And automation has evolved a lot in the last few years when it comes to artificial intelligence and the way these tools have come along. There's a lot of evolvement. It's much easier. You can get answers to your questions, even if you run into coding issues with something that needs a solution through code. You can ask ChatGPT, you can ask Claude in order to get the solutions that you want. Even if you're working with databases, for example, I was speaking with a potential client yesterday. He was using ChatGPT along with his limited knowledge of databases to get to the solutions that he wanted. Was it perfect? No. But he started to know enough to, one, know that he's working, that he's going in the right direction. And two, once he hires someone, he's able to explain exactly what needs to be done and ensures that the person on the other end is actually knowledgeable about the potential solution. And as I said, it's very easy to get started because of the no-code tools available. And my favorite one is make.com and the things that you can do with such platforms. So here is make.com, which is a free platform to get started, and you can do a lot with the free version. And the premise that you can automate your work with something new. Just drag and drop apps to automate existing workflows or build new complex processes. Solve problems across all areas and teams. You can also start with templates. So there's a lot of templates that are essentially 2 or more connected apps that take data from one place. For example, here, taking data from Google Sheets and generating completions using ChatGPT. So instead of going to ChatGPT and manually entering or copying data and pasting it into the large language model, you can get Make to do the thing for you and then give you the output as a result. Another one, syncing Facebook lead ads directly with Google Sheets. So when someone signs up through something you're offering on Facebook ads, you can immediately get them over to a Google Sheet. So it means that you don't need to do it manually. Gmail to Sheets, Sheets to Gmail, Telegram to Sheets. There's a lot you can do with these no-code tools. Apart from Make, there's also platforms like Zapier, like N8N. However, Make is the one that I really love because it has allowed me to really move fast on the projects I'm building. Now, what about real-world examples? So here I'm going to show you just 3 real-world examples that I use on a regular basis in my business. So here, this is something that I was recently exploring and will be implementing with some clients. So essentially, when a client releases a YouTube video on their channel, there is this webhook here that is listening to or watching for these new videos. Once that happens, there is a request made to a third-party site that allows the third-party site to download the video, create the video in a different language, and then put the new language and the original video, so the new audio file and the original video together. That is then downloaded, and that is then uploaded to Google Drive, and then it is sent to an email. So it's a very visual process. You can see what happens first, second, third, and so on and so forth, which is great when it comes to building stuff that needs to happen one step at a time. So this is one example of a real-world automation that is very valuable for business owners, because they're not having to learn a new language. They're not having to learn how to download videos and translate them to another language. It all happens automatically and saves time. And even more importantly, it allows them to tap into new markets. Here, there's a school Chrome plugin to Airtable. So this is something that I built, which allows me to save any school posts that I like on school directly to an Airtable, which means that since this isn't a native feature in school, it allows me to not get the posts that I really want to get back to later because of their value, and not allow these to just get lost, never to be found again. So it's, again, a simple type of automation, but it has a very practical use. So essentially, I have a school Chrome plugin that once I enable it over here, it sends a message to this webhook here, which is then sent to ChatGPT in order to categorize it properly. Then I get this formatted into a specific format, and then I save everything in my database in Airtable. So then I can just go to Airtable, and over time, I get an ever-growing list of valuable school posts that I can refer back to. Here's also a simple application, a simple Telegram bot that sends a motivational quote 3 times daily. So essentially, the prompt is you're a motivational speaker, come up with a motivational quote to inspire the reader to keep working, never give up, and succeed in their business. That's as complicated as it gets. This is made, or this is run every 6 hours, so you get 3 of these every single day. Then this request is made to a large language model. The response from the large language model is then sent to the person on Telegram, so they get the quote directly on their phone. Again, simple automation, but it requires no code at all in order to get started. If there were no code tools, this would require code. It would require you to have real coding experience in order to set this up. So those were 3 quick examples of real-world automations that you can get started with, you can do without writing a single line of code. So let's say that you want to get started. You might be thinking, what are the first steps I need to take? What I would suggest is checking out make.com. There's a link in the description, allows you to get your first 1,000 operations free per month, and you just play around with it. So if you go into a new scenario, you get this big plus button here, and once you click on it, you get all the integrations that you can connect Make with. And it helps if you know what you are trying to connect as well. So let's say that I want to connect, I don't know, Google Sheets and send information to someone via email. So if I go to Google Sheets, I can search for a row, I can add a row, I can update it, you can, delete, update cells. So if I want to add a new row, then you get information right here. So you can search by the path, so the path to the document. You can search by the document ID, so you can insert the document ID here, and you have examples right here. And then you keep getting more and more options. So it's all about just filling in the options as required. And then you know that you want to connect some data to Gmail. So it's just about choosing Gmail here, and then deciding what you want to do with the data. And the good thing about Make is that anything that comes after modules on the left is generally has access to all the data from these modules. So if I add a Gmail module here, then this and the information that comes from Google Sheets is accessible to Gmail. Same thing with anything I add after that. So if I add the Slack and then I create a message and then I want to send something via Gmail, now Gmail will have access to the information from Sheets and from Slack. So it follows this left to right kind of way of building processes. So this is how I would get started with make.com. You need some basic tools. Again, you need make.com, and then depends on what you are trying to achieve. If you're building this simple automation right here, you need access to Slack, you need access to Google Sheets, both of which are free. If you want to get data from some type of platform, you might want to, for example, sign up for apify.com, which allows you to get started for free again, and you can get data from different platforms, from different websites on the internet. So it all depends on what you are trying to connect together. So in a way, make.com is the glue that holds everything together. In this case, it's connecting Google Sheets with Slack. So it's the thing that puts everything together. And yeah, avoid pitfalls. The most common pitfall would be to start getting all these ideas, dreaming about what you can do, but never actually implementing. The faster you can get from the ideas in your head to actually going into make.com and building stuff out, seeing what works, seeing the errors that you might get, seeing how things can connect better to each other, the faster you will learn and the faster you will start doing and building these AI automations. Now, do you actually need to code? And I would say that the answer is yes. There are situations where you actually need to learn how to code and then actually implement these coding solutions. And in some cases, there are limitations. If I wanted to, for example, with this same potential client I was speaking to yesterday, we were discussing potentially connecting to multiple Facebook accounts from different clients or that belong to different clients, potentially connecting to multiple LinkedIn accounts that belong to different clients. So in that case of scaled situation, scaled solution, make.com might not be the best answer because you will need to have people that can actually connect to APIs that is a bit more on the advanced side. And in some situations, that can mean that you would need to either know how to code or know someone that can do it for you, hiring developers, for example. So there are situations where coding is important, but if you are just getting started, this part right here, you definitely don't need to worry about needing to code. And again, as I said earlier, if you then need to code, then it's as easy as going to Claude or going to ChatGPT and saying, I want code on something specific. Can you write me, C# code to help me create an application that connects, pet owners with vets. I don't know, just came up with something. So in this case, it will create a C# application that does that. If you're getting started, you probably don't need to know all of this stuff because you're not building something like this. You don't need to know what a class is, what everything else right here is. But if you want to build specific types of applications, then this might be where you might want to go at this stage right now. Because in the future, and there are already solutions that can do all of this for you. But my point is that this is not needed if you are just starting out. So then it's about hiring developers. If you are at the stage, what I would say about future-proofing your automations is that you, as much as possible, you don't want to have automations that work now and then you need to go back and update. For example, if you go to make.com and you create an OpenAI completion, you are asked to choose the model that you want to use. So here, I can choose the ChatGPT or GPT model I want to use. So there's ChatGPT 4.0 latest, GPT 4.0 system, GPT 4.0 from May, GPT 4.0 from August, audio, mini, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of models. What you might want to do is instead of choosing this right here and having it hard-coded, would be to use the map feature and entering this manually, which then means that you can store this somewhere in a database. So if in the future you want to change all the models that you use, it's about changing let's say we have a variable here. So that would be about changing the variable in make.com instead of going manually and updating each and every automation you build. Because then would then be reading from, let's say we have a module here that reads from Airtable. So it searches an Airtable record and gets the model that you want to be using at that stage. So then here, instead of having this being hard-coded, so instead of choosing that and then running the risk of that being unusable in the future, you could get this information from the Airtable module, which means that whatever you would have in that Airtable is then passed right here in make.com. So this is one simple way how you could proof or future-proof your automations. Also, being knowledgeable and staying on top of things, ensuring that you understand what is happening in the market, is super valuable, because this is how you future-proof your own knowledge and your automations. Finally, some success tips. So best practices for beginners, ensuring that you are implementing more than you are consuming. I really believe in producing more stuff than you consume. There's a time and place to learn some more. But eventually, unless and until you put that knowledge into action, that knowledge is useless. So while it's great to have all the things that you know you might be able to do in your head, you really learn more when you actually put it into practice and face the problems that arise, right? Choose wisely. So like I said, knowing what you want to automate is much better than knowing 100 things you could potentially automate but have no value for. So I would also always suggest starting with solving your own problems and then going with those solutions to others who might be running into those same problems. And in terms of resources, I would really suggest checking out make.com. I would suggest to check out their make.com courses. So make.com, I don't know if it's called Academy. The academy.make.com. It's a great place to get started. And there's a lot of videos on YouTube as well that I would suggest checking out. So this is what I would recommend in terms of resources. I'm also releasing a free newsletter that helps with this stuff I'm building, that I'm thinking about. So I think it also is a great thing to find people that you resonate with, that are that much ahead of you in their journey, and you are on a similar path, and learning from them. Having mentors and implementing what they teach without questioning it has been very valuable in my life, because they have knowledge that you might be blindsided to at that stage in your journey. So that is what I would suggest in terms of resources and getting started with a no-code or an AI automation agency. Anyway, that is it from my end. I hope you found that video useful and the information within it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss future ones. And if you want to get started with your AI and automation journey, check out the links in the description. There's the link to the newsletter that I mentioned. And there's also the ability for you to schedule a 30-minute consultation with me, where I will run through what it is you do in your business and give you ideas on how to use AI and automation to grow and scale even faster. I'll speak to you in the next video.